Good morning. Morning, Isaac. Morning, Zibi. Steve-O, good morning. David, how are you? Barack, how are you, man? Good morning. Jordan, I hope you guys had a really nice weekend. I'm over here getting to the desk about 15 minutes ago, and my news feed is going so stupid. One of the first pieces of news a few minutes ago at 7:26, this is 11 minutes ago, was ATHR Holdings announces proposed $40 million public offering to acquire Bitcoin as part of new treasury strategy. So, we've seen this before. 4 minutes later, KWM K-Wave Media announces investment in a strategic partnership from Galaxy Digital to accelerate Bitcoin treasury strategy. Then 1 minute later, BTOG Origin acquires over 40 million Dogecoin to advance treasury strategy. And then DJT Media announces its purchase of Bitcoin treasury reached $2 billion. So it's like, it's just too good. It's just too good. It's all it is. I mean, it's just all it is. Imagine your underlying business being so shitty. Your underlying business is so shitty that you gotta just acquire Dogecoin. I mean, you can't make that up. You just can't make that stuff up. Oh yeah, this one got punished the other day. Oh my goodness, what the hell happened here? Yeah, you know what it is? It's just it's just like I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It's far from impressive, honestly. Like the innovation's gone. It's like they're all just following Michael Saylor off the eventual bridge. I mean, or maybe it's the greatest thing that's ever that they've ever done in their business history. It's the smartest thing ever. I don't know. I have no idea. My opinion really doesn't matter. All I know is that it seems a little silly, but and here's the thing: a lot of these companies, they're not even taking money that they make and putting it in Bitcoin. They're diluting shareholders and putting it in Bitcoin. So it's like it's pretty bad. Cleveland Cliffs, CLF. Let me take a peek. Yeah, but this thing's in such a downtrend. If you want to play a steal name, I'm going to assume NUE probably looks a little bit better. Yep, sure does. I'm already above the 200. STLD, nice little base going on here. I remember I looked at this one. Probably needs over like $138. What else do we got here? We got Reliance Steel. Oh. Reliance Steel. Yeah, already in an uptrend. Yeah, CLF is it's a laggard, right? You want a better one. Here's one that's like right up against 52-week highs, 1.7% away. So those seem like a little bit better than CLF. ALAB, I think, looks pretty good. Just when everybody's getting sick of it, it continues to find, wow, 109. Yeah, beautiful. Looks like a breakout to me personally. Any checkbacks into, you caught ALAB at 100. Yeah, beautiful. ALAB looks great. Nice job. Yeah, I thought, it was doing a nice job holding the 200 simple moving average, just chopping everybody to pieces. And, I've talked about it for I've talked about it in the room. I've talked about it in here. I've talked about it, everywhere. If the best way to get situated in some of these choppy names has been against ascending moving averages. The 200 was indeed ascending, and buy it off the 50, buy it off the 200. Buying breakouts had been a little choppy, but here you go. It's off to the races. 109 now. Looks good. Love the earnings and sales on ALAB. So any checkbacks into ascending moving averages still look pretty dang good to me, personally. Yeah, I saw Jumia, but it's just too thin, so I can't trade it. Right? It trades 20 million bucks a day. It's not that I hate this thing. It's like the Amazon of Africa, and then you've got Melly, which is like the Amazon of South America, and then you've got Amazon, which is the Amazon of America. it's the Amazon. So I mean, I get it. I also think Coupang isn't Coupang something pretty similar. Let me see. I think Coupang is something like it as well. Don't know exactly. Yeah, internet retail. Yeah, Coupang. So these names, they're kind of acting well. But Jumia is just too thin. I can't trade it, unfortunately. Does IONQ look ready? The quantum stocks have been acting pretty well. Not ones I necessarily want to trade, but I like excuse me. I like CEG. I like this little consolidation. I have an alert set. We'll see what happens when it gets through 328. Yeah, I like CEG. I also pay my electric bill to them, to Constellation. It's like Constellation through ComEd. So Constellation provides the electricity to ComEd, and ComEd delivers it, if I'm not mistaken. And so my electricity bill, effectively, my electricity comes from Constellation. So I do like them as a business. I'm familiar with them. I mean, I've been all over the nuclear theme for a few years now, and I just kind of traded it poorly. But I do like the nuclear theme a lot. Yeah, the battery theme has been very, very strong recently. I think, at some point, though, QS is going to have a first red day setup. So we shall see. Sooner rather than later. Data. Yeah, data over 52 could look interesting. DJT, they bought all the Bitcoin, 2 billion worth, and they are in such a downtrend right now. GME. Oh, I even saw GAME this morning too. They also had some news, crypto related. COF. It just moves too slow, man. I like Capital One. That was one of my first credit cards. I like Capital One. At Capital One, JP Morgan still holding in there really well. They all had a down day a few days ago, but they all seem to have held the 20 and recovered pretty well. IBKR had nice little reaction to earnings. What else? WFC, Goldman Sachs still hanging in there. Yeah, Goldman Sachs still looks fantastic. Yeah, the banks still look good. Banks, credit cards. The only ones that are a little bit choppy recently are this Visa and MasterCard, all because of that stablecoin news. But, they seem to be okay, I guess. I don't know. Depends if they break down this little bear flag. But for now, seem to be okay. Yeah, QS has definitely that small little gap down look where it could be a first red day setup. I don't know. I own CCL. I think it looks great. I think, maybe the group's a touch extended. I don't know that I'm going to add on a gap up as well, but the group is acting pretty well. So just going to keep it on radar, back of mind. So I already own it and there's not much else to do with it. So I'm in about $5 ago, almost $4 ago. And we've peeled and nothing left to do. I'm hoping, some checkbacks in the morning, and then, we'll take it from there. It's still a touch extended from the 50, so I don't really want to get aggressive with it. But I think CCL looks awesome. Yeah, did a really nice job pushing out, going to 52-week highs, and then this little pullback right to the 52-week high level, and just holding in there beautifully. And again, it's in a really nice group. Look at RCL. Gorgeous. And then look at VIK. Beautiful. So not something I think you got to chase, but CCL I think could go higher. Who knows? AOI looks pretty good too. Yeah, a little bit more sideways or checkbacks off of the ascending 20 would look pretty good. If we can undercut the 20 and then rally back through, I think that would look even better. APLD, nice job coming back up the last 2 days. Yeah, nice little pickup last 2 days and a small little gap up going on right now. We'll see if this thing gives me a higher low setup to get in. Uber, something has been in the water that I don't know what's going on. This thing, Uber, has had no bid for the last few days. It's like the bid just disappeared. Bid just totally disappeared. But, could it be a bounce off the 50? Maybe. I think so. CRCL, again, like MSTR, I did not like this action on Friday. On a pickup in volume, is it still fine? Yeah, it's still above the 5-day, but I don't know about volatile price action like this. Just this, how do you get situated in this? Right? One, it's already made a really big move up, effectively from 30s all the way to 300. So from IPO price of 30s all the way to 300, about 900% move. And then it had the pretty nasty pullback, 30% plus, right? 40% pullback. And then, it's just trying to build out the right-hand side of the chart, but it's far too volatile for me to be comfy trying to get situated in it. Zscaler. Yeah, I mean, this thing also made a huge move. So this is the first check back to the 50. We'll see how it acts today. Technically it could be a higher low setup. Just the first check back to the 50 is usually pretty good. So we'll see what it does here. Zscaler, Rubric, not really going away. Crowd, bouncing off the 50 potentially. PanW, bounced off the 200. Yeah, we'll see. Sector's not dead. Is QUBT or is that the laggard? I actually think that one looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty damn good. As much as I don't like the quantum sector, I don't want to just be negative on stocks when they're going up, right? I either want to be negative on them when they've gotten way overextended or they're actually acting poor. And right now they're really not acting all that bad. So WMB. Yeah, this one's not dying either. It's just building a huge base. We'll see what happens when it gets back through $62. But for now, just kind of leaving it alone. Too gappy. First of all, MCHI moves 0.84%. So it's just entirely too slow. And then when you look at this daily, way too gappy. Why would you want to own something like this? You don't. Let me put it to you like that. You don't. And it's way too damn slow. So slow. 0.84% is like turtle speed. TAN looks good. TAN looks all right. Yeah, we'll see what happens when it gets through my trend line. Really, almost $39. See what happens when it gets through that level. Norfolk Southern, again, just too slow. Unless you're trading with even I don't want to own names this slow, but unless you're trading with I don't know, man, 40 million, $50 million that you have to put it into something that looks good, and is acting all right, then okay, fine. I understand. Buy yourself $3, $4, $5 million worth of NSC because you've got a bunch of money to play with. But otherwise, if you're trading with sub 2 million, you don't really want to be owning Norfolk Southern. Just way too damn slow. 100 million, 50 million, something like that, then yeah, you can go down to Norfolk Southern speed. Yeah, I don't really see what you would do with this. This is an ETF, isn't it? This one moves a little bit faster. It's plenty liquid, but I don't really see what to do with this. Zillow, the play on the housing recovery. Yeah, this doesn't look bad. This looks pretty good, actually. Little small bull flag. We'll see. Don't hate it. Don't love it. Affirm and Upstart both have my attention. Affirm acting much better, back above the 200. Looks pretty dang good. And Upstart too. These things might as well be twins. Yeah, they look all right. Yeah, AEM gold sector. I like WPM a little bit more. Yeah, AEM looks fine. They both look good. Yeah, could have been that circle was to sell the news on that Genius Act. Yeah, could have been. Oh man, TEM. Dude, I would rather. I don't want to go through the lists of I would rather instead of owning TEM. That's a long list. I honestly don't want to think about all the things I would rather do instead of trying to get positioned in TEM. I own ARC, so Kathy can deal with it, all right? I'll let Kathy take on that headache. Thoughts on XYZ S&P 500 inclusion? I don't trade based on any of that. I could care less. Yeah, to me, it's irrelevant. This will probably end up doing what Datadog did, where it'll gap up, and then it'll just go red for a few days in a row, right, on the S&P 500 inclusion. Datadog, S&P 500 inclusion right here, and then just totally unwound for a few days. I'm assuming that's probably what XYZ will end up doing. Because being included into the S&P 500 is not a reason to buy something ever. Yeah, AVA starting to look really good. A little bit more sideways here and tighten up, starting to look a whole lot better. Yeah, I would not chase this pump open. No thanks. This is I forget his name. There's some Fox analyst who goes on TV and trying to pump up Open Door as the next 100 bagger. Woo. Yeah, TTD gap up on S&P. Yeah, this isn't some reason to buy something. S&P 500 inclusion is not a reason to ever buy something. Thoughts on LEU? Far too extended. I mean, if you bought it off the 20, congratulations. If you didn't, you missed the boat. If you didn't buy this thing on 710 or even, any one of these days off of the 20, and I thought it was best right here, this day, whatever day this was, 523, $105, and there's a 150 point move for you. I wouldn't get positioned in a firm today. I would just be patient, wait for a better setup. And if it doesn't come, it doesn't come. Thoughts on CCOI? Too thin and below the 200 simple moving average. This is a piece of shit, dude. Why would you want to own this? Why on God's green earth would you care to own something that just went down like this, and then this is the price action on the way up? I mean, dude, come on now. Guys, for everybody who ever asked me a question, stick a 200 simple moving average on your chart. If it's below the 200 simple moving average, you know what I'm going to tell you. It's a piece of shit. We're in a bull market. If the stock you're looking at is below the 200 simple moving average, it's a piece of shit. Period. End of discussion. There's no reason to waste your life with it. I'm never going to be like, oh, that looks fucking awesome. That's the one you should buy. I'm never going to tell you that, ever, because I don't want to waste your time. And I want you to learn, because you better learn the easy way with me telling you, or you'll learn the hard way by you doing it and realizing, man, I just wasted a shitload of my time being in this thing. And by the way, this isn't me picking on you, my motto. This is just me being general to everybody listening here. If it's below the 200 simple moving average, and your stock market is at all-time highs, and your stock is still this far below the 200, you're looking at a piece of dog turd. It's just what it is. My thoughts on PL. This one's not looking too bad. I thought off this level was pretty interesting. So you had this gap up on earnings and then the high volume close. So the close was 596. That's why I had a line there. And, you know, through 596 looks pretty interesting. As long as that level holds, I mean, and this thing kind of looks like it's just reset up again. Higher lows, getting nice and tight. Maybe still a touch extended, but a little bit extended, but not really. Not really. I like iron. You know, I think this one's also a little extended from the 50. I liked iron down here. If you guys go back and look through some of my tweets, I talked about iron cores and hut as three that looked really good back here, like middle of whenever this was, June. And then it made a really nice move. Iron, hut, and wolf and BTBT, they all look pretty decent. So iron, hut, cipher, cores. This one's kind of come back quite a bit. This was the buyout news from CoreWeave. But yeah, the group has been acting pretty decent. But I don't know. There's still a touch extended from the 50 for me to really want to own iron. But 60-minute chart looks pretty damn good if you zoom out. It's a super nice little base here. We'll see. Blue sky, BKSY. Yeah, gap down. Man, that hurts a little bit. Yeah, so long as the 20 hangs in there, looks pretty good. Pays. Is that Paycom? Yeah, needs more sideways, man. Huge move off those lows. You know, the only real issue with Pays is it's so thin. Trades less than 10 million bucks a day. Reddit looks fine. I mean, I just don't see tons of momentum in here right now. But we'll see. SOUN, nah, no thanks. I don't know what group this thing moves with. Really, that's the problem. It would need a better technical setup. Let it build the right-hand side more. Let it show more momentum. I don't know. They're all good. They're all good. I like the one that Lance did. I'm also partial to Lance because he's a friend of mine. So Lance had a great presentation. How about Snow? So slow. Very slow. I mean, could be ready. Just slow. STX looks pretty good, but a little extended from the 50, but yeah. That's the issue with some of these. Like, look back at STX's history, and you'll see that it's never made a move like this, ever. Literally ever. And that's fine. But if I'm just going to go back and say, has this chart ever made a move like this? And the answer is no. I'm going to be a little bit more cautious about buying this super short consolidation. Although it is potentially a series of higher lows, you know, but I don't know, man. Just a little too short of a consolidation to feel comfy. Yeah, Sedge looking much better. Love the accumulation that's coming into Sedge. But I don't want to try and have to pick a solar winner. You only have, in my eyes, you have Sedge, you have FSLR, you have NXT, but I would rather just go with TAN, the ETF. No, I never risk 1% of total capital per trade. First of all, sometimes when I'm trading like a JP Morgan, you know how hard it is to risk 1% on a tight setup? Dude, you have to buy like a 50% position, sometimes more. I mean, that's just insanity. So, no. Sometimes way less, man. And I don't really think about it as a every trade has to have 1% risk or 0.5% risk. I just think about how tight is my stop when I go to buy something? What am I going to lose? Most of the times I'm really risking like 0.2, 0.3, sometimes less. Urban. Yeah, needs to get going eventually. Nice base here. We'll see what happens when it clears 73.21. That's right, Roger. I literally let institution guys. Guys have to realize this. The biggest moves in stock market history, not one of them has ever occurred below the 200 simple moving average. All right, let me repeat that. The biggest moves in stock market history, not one of them has ever occurred below the 200 simple moving average. So why you would think you have to own something below the 200 simple moving average is counterintuitive to catching the biggest moves of all time. It wouldn't happen. Wait for the stock to get above the 200 simple moving average. Let it be in a good group where multiple stocks are above the 200 simple moving average. Let the stock that you're looking at have some kind of fundamentals or a story or be in a theme which is interesting to you and to institutions, hence the reason they're above the 200 simple moving average. Buy it coming out of a clean technical setup that you understand where you can limit risk from, right? High type flag, undercut and rally, moving average undercut and rally, earnings gap up, high volume close setup, something you understand. Do it in a healthy market where the underlying is going higher. So if you're buying a tech name that NASDAQ's going higher, if you're buying a crypto name, Bitcoin's going higher, or if you're buying a gold name, gold's going higher, where if you're buying an energy stock, crude oil's maybe going higher. And then sit tight. Size right, sit tight. But again, people want to look at stocks underneath the 200 and you're just, you might as well quit trading. I mean, if that's what you're going to do, you're not going to make it. So there's just no point in being a donator to the stock market. And again, I try to say it all the time. I'm not ever picking on any one person. I'm just not friendly about it because someone's got to have some tough love, right? It just is what it is. Otherwise, you're just going to waste your own time. Now, if you want to buy something because you know the company well and you've got like $100,000 and it doesn't affect you're not a full-time, this isn't your full-time gig, and you just want to be like, no, I'm just going to put $10,000 there, I don't care, right? I'm going to hold it for the next 20 years anyway. Okay, then we're talking about two different things. You're an investor, you're not a trader. But if you're going to be a trader, you can't be trading things under the 200 simple moving average, at least not on the long side. How can I stop focusing too much on P&L? I enter most of the good stocks at the best RR area, but a little bit of a dip making me scared. That means you're putting on too much size, or you're not accepting the risk before you get in. You have to accept the risk before you ever buy something, period. You have to accept the risk. You have to know before you get in, I'm risking $50 and the money's already gone before you get in. So that's the way you have to think about it. In your mind, the money is already gone. It should be. DT, no, I don't really have a video explaining that. I do live stream very similar to how you're seeing me do now, except the market's actually moving, so there's kind of a lot more to cover in real time. And then kind of I'm going over my daily and nightly watch list on video, and I'm answering a gazillion questions in real time, which is, much more valuable, but it's about it. I don't really have a video going over that. It's a good question. Yeah, I think DAL and UAL look pretty good. The DAL's got to get going over this earning gap up close, and UAL I think had a nice inside day. So yeah, Gabo, it looks pretty good in my opinion. Apple breakout. Apple's below the 200. There's no reason to be looking at Apple. Rubric's been acting pretty well after the pullback, but we'll see. We'll see if this thing can finally get going. Yeah, no, Dave's been on a pretty nasty pullback recently. I don't really see a spot to buy it here personally. Not yet, anyway. Thoughts on the metals company? I don't really like these names. Too speculative. Plus, this thing has been in an insane move. This thing gave you a couple spots to buy it on 414. It gave you another spot right in here as it flagged up. Middle of May. It gave you another spot middle of June. Up here, we're just getting a little bit too far away from the 50 to feel comfortable to buy it. When do I normally add more to my trades? When they set up again on the daily. So like, for instance, I already own CCL, right, from 25.77. And all we've done is make a nice move up and then start to digest, right? If the group is acting well and the market starts to turn up, even though, again, we are turned up on the market, but this thing has done a really nice job tightening up. And I'm kind of seeing like a little flat pivot here. Okay, fine. There's potentially some ads there. My only issue is RCL and VIK are a little bit vertical, and we're still a bit extended from the 50. So I don't really want to add to it, but it is on watch. So that's a great question. And I do want to add to my CCL, but only when I get another clean daily setup, which also means it can't be extended. So I don't just want to add to my position just for the sake of adding it. I want to make sure that I'm buying something not extended. The dollar amount risked is determined by your total position size stop rather than the reverse. You said, yeah, I don't ever risk the same amount per trade because some stop levels are a little bit more, right? And some stop levels, like some stocks, they might move a little bit faster, and some stocks might move a little bit slower. And some setups I really know well, and I have a super tight risk level, so I size those up. You can't. It's like it's been really, really choppy lately, so I've had to size things back. So I'm just not risking as much per trade as, let's say, I was back in middle of May 2 months ago. Right, middle of May 2 months ago, I was being much more aggressive on my positions, and it was working well. Like for most of June, it's been choppy. So, I've had to size things back a little bit, and that's all I can really do. Christian, you have to listen to the feedback in your own portfolio too to determine how aggressive you can get. If you're not gaining traction on a 10% position and then a 10% position and a 10% position, why would I stick with 10% portfolio position? Meaning, if I'm trading a $100 stock and I got $1 million account, I'm not buying 1,000 shares on a $100 stock and then the next one another 1,000 shares, then another 1,000 shares. I'm going to cut back to 500 shares because if I can't gain any traction on 1,000 shares, right? Why would I either one bump it up or two keep it the same? I'm not gaining traction, so I'm going to size it down, and the market's going to force me back in. Right? The market's going to, okay, that 5% position worked. Okay, cool. The next one worked. All right, now let's try 10, right? And the market starts to pull me back in. Yeah, I agree. Earnings coming up. I think, we could be patient for the next few weeks, and then we'll see really what the market has for us in a few weeks. Yeah, IBIT, I'm comfortable adding to, but again, I'm not just going to add a dip on IBIT. We got two options. One, we come into the 10, and then we'll see kind of how we're acting, right around $66, so about another dollar lower from here. Or we kind of just turn up and then we take out 68, and then we'll see, what that looks like. But yeah, I don't hate IBIT. My guess is these names want to go higher until they show that they want to go lower, but I don't think they do. Nah, Zibby, I don't think I will. Part of the reason is like it's actually hard to make a huge percent gain anymore, right? Just partially because of what I'm trading with, and like everybody, you're either in like the 7-figure portfolio and above class, but like making 100% on $1 million is a whole lot easier than making 100% on 20 times that. So there's just really no sense for me to do it. SBET and BMNR getting the smoked. So far, so much for that gap. So much for that Ethereum gap up, huh? UAVS? No. Dude, UAVS is a turd, bro. For the love of God. You guys got to stop looking at stocks below the 200 simple moving average. I don't care if this thing ends up moving 100% today. Let it establish itself above the 200. Then you come look at it, please. For the love of Christ. Stop looking at stocks below the 200. What do you get if you win the USIC? A book deal, dude. You get a book deal. AVAV. Yeah, this one's not too bad either. Let's see if it'll build a higher low. Yes, my love. Oh, guys, give me a second. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, here. Do I ever buy trading courses? No. Mm-hmm. You got MVTS on Friday? I like it. Yeah, ALAB's acting well. So choppy. If you're going to play ALAB, buy ALAB off of ascending moving averages. That's the spot. No, any GGs and no touch for me, man. This thing went vertical already. Would take a really long time to set up properly, but no. No, Jumi is too thin as well. I mean, I'm sure they can go, but I know you didn't just say BYON, Beyond Meat. I'm surprised they're still in business. I don't know, man. It's going to need some time for this 200 to actually shapen up. Yeah, Bloom Energy, now we're talking. This one looks a whole lot better. Yeah, regionals look okay. Oh, guys, I got to get rolling. Yeah, Unity just needs a little bit more digestion here. Super nice move off the bottom. This was nice and tight right in here. This was the spot to have been paying attention to Unity. When it got nice and tight, just built some subtle higher lows. Really nice accumulation volume came in right here and right here on the 26th and 27th. And then obviously really nice push from there. But now it just needs to retighten a little bit. So we'll see. Guys, I will see you guys bright and early in the morning. Trade them well today. Start your week off well. Don't do anything crazy. Be patient. And we'll see what the hell happens today. You don't need to own them all, right? One name at a time. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.